Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Anthony Salick, and as you read by today's video, I'm going to be ranking every single MCU project from 2008 to 2021. So we're going to be starting off from Iron Man, and we're going to be ending with Spider-Man No Way Home. We have every single project in here. A couple of things I wanted to say. The reason why I'm mainly doing this video is because I got a brand new editing software, and I'm really interested to see what kind of effects I can pull off with this editing software. So this video is mainly like a test, but it's also I'm screen recording my laptop for the first time, so that way I can put my face in the corner of the ranking while we go on with the rankings and stuff like that. So I figured this video would just be a test, but I didn't want it to be just a boring test, so I figured I might as well put some MCU stuff in it because it's real easy and simple. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be ranking every single MCU. This includes TV shows from Disney Plus and the movies. So here we go. All right, let's start off chronologically. All right, here we go. And let's see. First of all, we got Iron Man. Iron Man's a cult classic. I don't care what y'all say. Everybody like it's old, but that movie was one in a million. Like just what the original concept of the MCU. That's S tier. Oh my! If you don't put that on S tier, y'all tripping. Alright, Incredible Hulk, released in 2008, Edward Norton. Good movie. The only reason why I like it is because it has a part where they're in Guatemala. So I like that they're representing the country, the good country. Damn, what would Incredible Hulk be? I don't know. I just remember it had General Ross, who else? Abomination, I don't even know, Edward Norton. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this at a C. I don't want to be rude and put it on D level just because I feel like that's too harsh for especially for the second project of the MCU. Like this is when the MCU was barely getting its footing. Moving on to Iron Man 2. This is the one. Iron Man 2. That's like the one that everybody hates, but I really love. I love all three Iron Man movies, and I feel like Iron Man 2 is just so underrated. It did a good job with like introducing more characters such as Black Widow and Nick Fury more, but I gotta give it B. I want to put it on A, but I know that majority would want it at C, so I'm gonna just put it at B. Alright, here we go. Captain America First Avenger, released in 2011. When comparing it to Civil War and Winter Soldier, it's a tier down. So because of that, I'm gonna put it on A. Let's just go A. It was really good, but when you compare it to the next two movies, they're like this movie is like obviously everybody's least favorite, but it's well actually there's some people who consider this like the best one, but it's still like it's not as good as Winter Soldier and as Civil War, and we're gonna get to that in a little bit. All right. Oh, I forgot Thor. I already did it wrong. Thor came before Captain America. First Thor. You know, I like this movie. The first Thor, I thought Chris Hemsworth really was sort of getting his footing on the character. Because, like, if you compare the Thor of this movie to, like, the one that we saw in Endgame, two completely different characters. But it's obviously because of the character development and the movies he's been across. And I like this first Thor movie. I thought it was really, really cool and really sick. But I'm going to put it on... I hate doing this, but I'm putting it on C. I'm gonna keep it there. All right, so we're moving on to what? The Avengers? Yeah. Okay, so 2012, The Avengers, bringing all the heroes we have known so far into this one movie. S tier. It has to be S. Ain't no way it could be anything below that. It's on like first of all, it's a movie that was supposed to make only 500 million, did more than that, did I think like triple that. It was projected to be, and it was something that we had never seen before, and not only that, but it would pave the road for future movies, not just MCU movies, but like other comic book movies like the DC. All right, let's see, Iron Man 3 in 2013. You know what? I really do love Iron Man 3. I really do. I think it's one of the best parts about it is Tony Stark's journey. But I gotta put it at B. I want to put it on A with First Avenger, but I feel like a lot of people hate this movie for some reason. I honestly like I haven't seen this movie since like last year, 2021, early 2021, or not late 2020, and I had a good time with it. It's a Christmas movie, so that's fun. I gotta go with B tier. I want to put it on A tier because like Iron Man 2, that's like Iron Man 2 is like obvious, like that's B tier, but I really did enjoy it. But I'm gonna go with B tier for Iron Man 3. All right, Thor: The Dark World, arguably the worst MC movie up to date. And I gotta be honest, if you were to watch this movie first in the MCU, like if you're watching this, like if this is the first thing you're gonna watch, like as a new fan, or like you're rewatching the whole thing over and over again, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I mean, there are some good parts to it, but I see where this movie suffers from like the villain to the character developments and stuff like that. It's all just very bland. And the only reason why people watch it is just for the ether or the reality stone, because that's really the only time the stone makes an appearance aside from Infinity War and Endgame. So for that, oh, why is Black Panther? Oh, that accidentally dragged down. I was like, what? I'm putting it on C. I don't want to be rude. I don't think any project deserves a D ranking. Just I don't think so. All right, moving on to the big one. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Arguably in everybody's top five. Big debate on the greatest MCU movie. I'm a big fan of it. Big fan of the whole Cap trilogy. I gotta put it on S tier. Why wouldn't you put it? It did so much in so little time. It's a very grounded film, and I think that overall it has such a great storyline with not just the characters but also the action and the fight sequences and the dialogue, like, and also the fact that this was the Russo brothers' first ever movie, so I think they killed it right out of the bat. And not only that, they only went greater and greater, like they went higher and higher as they kept making more MCU movies. So moving on, we got Guardians of the Galaxy 1, released in 2014, directed by James Gunn. This movie, okay, you talk about Iron Man being one in a million. Oh, sorry about that. You talk about Iron Man being one in a million. Guardians is one in a billion, and for that, it's S tier. Like, it's not in my top five, but it's definitely in my top 10 because of just how it worked. It just worked, and it was something that nobody saw coming. And the fact that James Gunn and the cast were able to pull something like this off, it gets the S tier. Avengers: Age of Ultron, released in 2015, directed by Joss Whedon, bringing the cast of the Avengers together and putting in more heroes such as Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Vision with the antagonist of Ultron. I gotta be honest, I'm a big fan of Age of Ultron. I think it's truly the only film where the Avengers are really like an Avengers team compared to everything else. Like, Avengers: Age of Ultron is the movie where like the Avengers are the Avengers. Because in the other movies, they're either coming together, they're split up, or half of their team is decimated. So for that, I don't want to put it A because I think like there's a lot of negatives to it. First of all, like the biggest ones of like it it didn't sort of exactly fulfill the success of the first one, and the fact that Ultron was pretty much a one shot, at least until What If. But I gotta put it B. I want to put it A. You know, let's put it A. Let's put it A. I think it's good. It's good for what it was. It's good for what it was. All right, Ant-Man 2015, Paul Rudd, directed by Peyton Reed. This is difficult, but I think it's obvious that it's A. Guardians is one in a billion. Ant-Man is like on the same level of Iron Man, one in a million. It's the better one of the two movies that we have so far, and it's just really really fun. It's a good heist movie. It's great for if you're just trying to watch a simple MCU movie and you don't really need a whole lot. It's a good origin story, not the best, but I think it's really really good. And because of the fact that they took such a obscure character and made him into $1 billion franchise, oh yeah, A tier for sure. All right, moving on to Phase 3, we have Captain America: Civil War, a big movie, second movie directed by the Russo brothers. Introduction of Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Black Panther. T'Challa. I mean, I'd be wrong if I didn't give this movie S tier. Just because, like, it's Cap movie, but it does so much. It has a good arc for Tony Stark coming out of Avengers: Age of Ultron. The characters, the side characters, I thought really were good. You know, you have like characters like Falcon, Bucky, War Machine, Black Widow, T'Challa, Vision, Scarlet Witch. So it did a good job. I have no problems with Civil War. Like, I would watch it again in a heartbeat, for sure. Definitely S tier. I think Civil War is in my top 5, or if not, it's top 7. It's really really good. All right, moving on to Doctor Strange, 2016, starring Benedict Cumberbatch and directed by Scott Derrickson. This one's difficult. This one's difficult because I don't know whether or not to put this one on. I don't think it's S tier because there's a lot that I think it's sort of messed up in. I think Caecilius, who was like the main protagonist, wasn't really a good the main antagonist wasn't really good. I thought Dormammu was sort of short-ended. He didn't have a lot to do, but the theme of like time and the characters of like Stephen Strange and the Ancient One, I thought were really really strong. I'm giving it an A tier. It's just like Ant-Man, but a little bit better. But it's not like S tier. Maybe if Caecilius was more of a threat, then yeah. But overall, it's an A tier. All right. 2017, we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the second in the movie, directed by James Gunn. I gotta be honest, this is a movie that I like it, but I don't really like it. Like, if you were to tell me, like, hey, let's watch an MCU movie, it's not gonna be Guardians 2. It's gonna be so many more options. For me, if I were, I'm not trying to be mean to this movie, but I don't want to be so. I don't think it belongs higher. I'm putting this movie on B. B. I think the main parts this movie struggled with was like the characters. Like, some characters outshine other characters, and I think that Ego was really sort of like, he was cool, but he wasn't like the biggest. Like, he was like the biggest antagonist, but he's not like a character that was fully fleshed out and fully like seen. Like his he could have been way much more of a threat than what we saw. And I felt like if they would have taken like 5-10 more minutes for Ego, they would have killed it. It would have been good as the first one. All right, here we go. Moving on to Spider-Man: Homecoming, the first movie in the Homecoming trilogy, starring Tom Holland, directed by John Watts. I gotta be honest. This is gonna be a hot take. Homecoming is my favorite Spider-Man movie, period. It beats the Raimis, beats the Mark Webbs, beats Into the Spider-Verse, beats No Way Home. No, that's such a hot take. I love Homecoming because it feels like an MCU movie. Far From Home I have issues with that movie. No Way Home is flat out amazing. But there's something about Homecoming that just feels like Peter Parker is really home. And it feels like an MCU movie without any Sony interruptions. And for that, I gotta give it S tier. I would rewatch Homecoming in a heartbeat. It is so good. It definitely did a good job at portraying Peter Parker in high school and setting up his world, and also the difference between his personal life and his Spider-Man life. So for that, S tier. Alright, moving on to Thor Ragnarok, starring Chris Hemsworth, directed by Taika Waititi. I think I said that right. Hopefully I did. So coming off of the first two films, I mean, this is a step up. It's amazing. In my top five films for sure, because of the fact that it did not only a lot for Thor, but also the characters that were around him, such as Loki, Heimdall, Hulk, but also that with introducing brand new characters that become fan favorites, such as Hela, Valkyrie, Korg, and I thought that it did a really good job at not only ending the trilogy, which is going to become a quadrilogy in a couple months, but also doing a nice setup to Infinity War. Because as we know, this movie, right after this movie ends, Infinity War picks up. So yeah, big fan of Thor Ragnarok. In my top five personally, but it's also S tier. Just because of the improvement that that it did after the first two Thor films. So for that, yeah. All right, moving on to Black Panther, released in 2018, starring Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P., directed by Ryan Coogler. Again, another S tier. This was a movie that came out February 2018 and was just such an amazing movie. I remember when I went to go see this for the first time, saw it with some friends. Really, really good movie, and for that, I have to put it S tier. And looking back on it, just the portrayal of not only Chadwick Boseman, but of everyone else on the team. You know, you had Killmonger, M'Baku, Okoye, and stuff like that. Like, this movie did a great job with setting up the world of Wakanda, and a good character for T'Challa, Black Panther, of course. And looking back on it now, you know, with the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, I can look at this movie and be like, wow, just wow, amazing. I would be offended if I didn't put this on S tier. It absolutely deserves it, 100%. All right, moving on to the big one, Avengers: Infinity War, released in 2018, bringing not only the cast of the Avengers, but also introducing the main villain Thanos, directed by the Russo brothers. Okay, this movie, I gotta be honest, I don't think this is S tier. This is A tier at most. It has to be A tier. Reason why is because there's a couple things that I feel like this movie lacks. One, it's character balance, right? There are some characters, and I'm not complaining, some characters get a lot more screen time than other characters, and it's not until Endgame where that sort of unbalance is sort of balanced out more. And for that, Avengers: Infinity War goes for A tier. I think it could have been a little bit more better when it comes to like stuff like the heroes interacting more, or Thanos getting more character time. Especially because when you compare someone as to like Iron Man having like what 7 movies before compared to Thanos making his big first screen appearance, you have to really do a good job with balancing the characters. And I think they did by making Thanos sort of the hero of the story, with the Avengers being the one trying to stop him. So I'm going to put it on A. I know I should put it on S, but I'm going to put it on A for now. Alright, moving on to what was after Ant-Man and the Wasp, released in 2018, directed by Peyton Reed. Okay, this is a difficult one. So a lot of people that I know of either see this as a fun film or just a film that doesn't really, they don't care about. So this is difficult. I'm going to put it on B tier just because I felt like it could have done a little bit better with the characters. I felt like Ghost as a villain was sort of a little bit underused. I felt like she could have had a better arc, but Ghost was okay. But the rest of the movie is just seen as like it's sort of like, it's just there. It's just there. Mainly, like the only reason why you would see this movie is probably because of the end credit scene, or the post credit scene, I'm sorry. Alright, moving on to 2019, we have Captain Marvel. Ooh, okay, this is gonna be a hot take. I don't like this movie at all. I don't. Okay, last time I saw Captain Marvel was like literally 2019, the build up to to Endgame, when I was rewatching everything again. And I don't remember anything at all about that movie aside from like Carol is like brainwashed to fight the Skrulls, and she's with the Creed, but the Creed are the bad guys. I know that Ronan the Accuser was there because it took place in the 90s. It had Maria Rambeau and it had young Monica Rambeau. She gets her powers from the Tesseract. I know Nick Fury's there with Goose, the cat, the Flurican. I think that's what it's called. Tesseract's some sort of involvement in it. I don't like this movie, man. If you were to tell me, yo, let's rewatch Captain Marvel, I'd probably say, you know what, bro, put Iron Man 2 or something like that. I would rather watch Incredible Hulk, Thor, or The Dark World before I watch Captain Marvel. Like, Captain Marvel is like that one movie that's like dead last. I'm not saying that the character is bad because Captain Marvel does good in like Endgame, but just that movie is just like, it's just, I just remember just like watching and going like, that was the movie. All right, Endgame, 2019, Russo brothers, final movie in the Infinity Saga. I mean, there's no other way. This is S tier. This is without a doubt in my top 3 favorite MCU movies. I could say it's for one, but it's debated. Enough said. Far From Home. Far From Home, Far From Home, Far From Home. Another hot take. Far From Home does not feel like an MCU movie to me. To me, Far From Home does not feel like an MCU movie. It feels like a Sony movie with the name Marvel Studios just slapped right on it. It doesn't feel like an MCU movie. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the whole disagreement that happened between Marvel and Sony, but it doesn't feel like an MCU movie. I would watch it. Don't get me wrong. When I was watching it for preparation for No Way Home, I enjoyed it, but it just didn't feel like an MCU movie. So for that, I'm putting it at B. All right, here we go. Disney Plus series, starting with WandaVision. WandaVision, B, B, B. Only reason because it's the first MCU content that we had after like 2 years. The amount of pain and theories that were going around during those 8 weeks were the worst that I've ever seen. Everybody was saying Mephisto's going to show up. Quicksilver's going to be in this. Both Aaron Taylor, Evan Peters. Mr. Fantastic was supposed to show up at some point. I don't even know. Some people were saying Magneto or Professor X. Those 8 weeks were absolutely terrible. I hated the theories. I just wanted to watch the show as it was. I thought that this story was just a simple WandaVision story, as it was. But because of the amount of theories that were floating around, it made it absolutely difficult to watch this and to not be disappointed. To watch this show and to not be disappointed with the amount of theories that did not come true was really, really difficult. So for that, B tier. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I want to put this A tier, but I know the general audience won't like it. The reason why I'm putting it on B is because of the stupid Flag Smashers. The worst part of that show was the Flag Smashers. I thought Zemo and John Walker should have just been the main villains. Flag Smashers, I understand that a portion of their story was cut due to the pandemic. Still, they're not good. They're not good. They're the worst part about that show. Bucky and Sam have great arcs. I love the character introductions of like Isaiah Bradley, Elijah Bradley. I love John Walker and the Return of Zemo. The action was fun. Cap's new suit was very, very cool. So for that, B tier. Moving on to Loki. I mean, it did a lot of good job with setting things up for the future, with introducing the multiverse, introducing variants, and introducing a variant of Kang the Conqueror. This movie is A tier. A tier. Or this series, I'm sorry, is A tier. Alright, Black Widow. First MCU movie going into phase 4 after the initial pandemic. I'm not a big fan of it. I thought there was a lot of mistakes with it, mainly Taskmaster and the storyline with like Draco. Like, I remember watching that movie and being like, how are you guys gonna make Dreykov the villain, if like he just pops out of nowhere. He's just like, hey, I'm the villain. Let me tell you my story. And that's it. It spent too time on Taskmaster, who wasn't Taskmaster, and just to give us another villain who wasn't exactly the best. So for that, Black Widow's beat. What if deserves. I don't want to give it B, but I'm gonna put it B mainly because of the episode lengths. I thought that the Ultron Vision story wasn't very good at all. I thought that 2 episodes were way too short, and 1 episode to bring together the Guardians of the Multiverse was very, very underwhelming. I thought it could have been a little bit better. I did love the voice acting. Chadwick Boseman, Haley Atwell, Chris Hemsworth, Benedict Cumberbatch. I thought they all did amazing. So for now, it's going to be B. Sorry. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That's A. The only problem I have with Shang-Chi, and it's not even that big of a problem, it tried to do too much in one movie. It was like, what, 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes? It tried to set up this whole new world and this whole new perspective of the MCU in too little bit of a time. I felt like if they would have cut some things or they would have gave the movie more time, I felt like it would have done better. But for that, A tier. Eternals, B tier. I'm sorry. I like the Eternals. I thought they did a good job. Eternals suffers from the Shang-Chi problem, but a lot more. 10 new heroes. Arishem, the Judge. Black Knight wasn't even Black Knight. 7,000 years of MCU history crammed into 2.5 hours. Not gonna work out. Some characters I absolutely didn't like. I didn't like Ajax. I didn't like Cersei. Some Eternals I did like. Dina and Gilgamesh. Some moments I was like, why are we going back in time? Some moments I was like, wait, stay back in time. I want to learn more about this. But it suffers from just time. Just time is the biggest factor. Hawkeye, B tier. You know why? B tier only because there were some deleted scenes that came out that showed off like Hawkeye when he was younger, young Maya with Kingpin, and they cut it. And for that, B tier. The biggest stupid argument that I hear is like Hawkeye is the Kate Bishop show. Of course it's gonna be. It's an introduction of Kate Bishop, who is a Hawkeye. Why wouldn't the show mainly be focused on her? It's sort of a passing of the torch. So, and finally, No Way Home. No way this ain't getting nothing less than an S tier. Best Spider-Man movie. Hesitation. Brought back Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. Introduced so many cool villains, or returning villains. Great finish for the Homecoming trilogy. And perfect send-off for those that came before. And it's going to be a great start for what's next of Tom Holland. So yeah, guys, that is my MCU tier ranking. I feel confident with this. Only 4 movies that I really sort of have a little bit of problem with it. But overall, I enjoy it. This is my tier ranking. Post down in the comments down below. What's your tier ranking? Do you think I should have moved anything or some things? Let me know. What's your favorite MCU movie? How would you rank the MCU? Put it down in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Again, this was a little bit of an editing test, but I figured I might as well do something fun. My name is Anthony Salick, and I will see you all next time. Peace.